Hi, I'm Stacy from Old Town Quilt Shop, and we're going to show you today how to use the Bloc ruler for half square triangles. So here's the Bloc ruler for half square triangles. I happen to be showing you the 6.5 inch size, which is probably the most versatile since it will do any half square triangle that is 6.5 inches and smaller. So what's nice about the Bloc ruler is that it has this ridge on the back side of it, and that allows you to snug it right up into your seam and keep your seam straight while you make your cuts. So you've got, when you press your half square triangle, you generally press to one side, which gives you a high side, the side that it's pressed to, and a low side. And I always like to remember block, lock on low, lock and load, and it just snugs right up into your seam. If you have it wrong, if you put it on the wrong side, because it will nest into that seam as well, you will be able to tell because it's not going to line up. The corner is not going to line up with the corner of your seam. So you'll know that you don't have it quite right. So then you just rotate your half square triangle over until you've got it so that it's in the seam and it looks like it's going to cut it properly. So we're going to cut this one down to 5 inches. So you can see here that I have my raw edges just past the 5-inch line, and I'm going to go ahead and trim these two sides. Now I'm using a rotating mat, which makes it nice because you can just kind of turn the mat to make your cuts. But even if you don't have a rotating mat, you can still use this ruler. You just have the block in a position where it's comfortable for you to cut on both sides. And again, I'm using a rotating mat, so I can just go ahead and turn this and slide this down. If you don't have a rotating mat, all you have to do is just rotate your block and the ruler at the same time, making sure that your ruler stays nested right into there in that seam. So now I'm going to line my cut edges at the 5-inch lines here and go ahead and finish trimming this off so that I have a perfectly square 5-inch half square triangle. And so this half square triangle is all ready to be put into my quilt, and I know that it's exactly square. What's nice about the 6.5-inch ruler is that it can do anything that's smaller than a 6.5. So that one's a rather large one, but here I have something that's a little bit smaller, and maybe I just want to get this to 3 inches. And I can easily do that by sliding it down from one side to the other. However, if I have a quilt that requires a lot of really small half square triangles, say 2.5 inches, I have this 2.5-inch ruler, which makes it nice because then I can just set it right on top of my square and just cut around all 4 sides. And again, I've got the rotating mat, which makes it nice because I can just turn it and cut each side. But still, even if you don't, you can just rotate it right on your cutting mat and just keep spinning side to side. Now the other use for the half square triangle ruler is for drawing the line to actually make that half square triangle. So you're going to use that ridge again that's on here, on the back, and you're going to line it up against the edge of your square. And you're going to get the points in each corner, and then you can take the marking pen of your choice and draw that line. And then you're able to either stitch on that line or 1/4 inch on either side, whichever your pattern calls for. And so that is how you use the Bloc half square triangle ruler. And we have several different sizes available. We have the 6.5, the 4.5, and the 3.5, the 2.5. And then there's also this nice set, which has the 6.5, 4.5, and 2.5 inch all in there, in case you do a lot of varying sizes. So again, the advantage of the Bloc ruler is so that you have perfectly square, perfectly trimmed half square triangles every time, and they just go very nicely into your quilt.